This is a lot of people. We're the rum
And the wine.
in Japan for the first time and our first visit to a theme park where we fight the crowd, see Nintendo World, and
Go on a roller coaster I'll never go on again.
after you step off the train, you're still in a crowd of people as we wind our way up to the gates. At this point in time, you can start and feel the excitement building in the air, as well as some music blasting you from the side. This will be a continuous theme as it starts to build the atmosphere for you to actually enter the park.
The street leading up to the gates is lined by shops and hotels, and with the music blasting, I have to admit for a second I thought that was already the park.
I'll admit, as we started seeing the sign, I started to get pretty excited. After all, it just started to hit us. We were at Universal Studios Japan. We had thought about this trip and seen from videos what it would look like, but nothing really prepared us for being there in the flesh.
Considering how packed the train was, I expected our first queues when entering. However, they were set up really well and we queued barely a few minutes and then we were already inside. The park being in Japan, the staff mostly speak Japanese. However, that doesn't stop them from greeting everyone with a friendly wave.
We caught a glimpse of our next destination over the lake. However, to get there, we had to walk through Jurassic Park, where suddenly we heard screams from above. Little did we know, we would join in that activity very soon.
To get to the Harry Potter world, you have to walk up a little hill between the trees, which already starts setting the scene as you arrive in Hogsmeade. The one thing that broke the illusion a little bit as you look out onto the snow-covered roofs was the absolutely boiling heat. The weather may not have seemed very British with the heat and the sunny skies, but you still got a feeling of walking down the street that I'd imagined so many times in my mind. Walking past Honeydukes, past Sonkos, you could imagine Harry, Ron and Hermione nipping in there for a treat. We had seen a model of Hogwarts Castle before, the Leavesden Studios in London, which I thought was pretty big, but nothing compared to walking up to this, not just replica, but actual castle.
What I found truly amazing was the intention to detail, to try and create the immersiveness, like if you were really over the Black Lake looking up at Hogwarts. Yes, it is very hot, so finally got some frozen butterbeer here to try out. Yeah, we're just waiting around here because we have some time entry tickets, but that isn't for like a couple hours. So we're just walking about the park, getting some refreshment until we go on our first rides.
Much to our amusement, the three broomsticks offered not just a classic fish and chips, but also a vegetable Irish stew. Currently, there is a pop-up exhibition about Demon Slayer, a popular anime, and for us, most importantly, it comes with a lunch option. We had iced tea and the most beautifully decorated sushi set, all themed for the love Hashira, one of the characters.
Besides the food being delicious, we also enjoyed the ambiance of the restaurant, which had little touches of the anime sprinkled throughout the decor.
Even the staff uniform was slightly modelled after the Swordsmith Village characters.
But then it was time for what I would call my main event, Super Nintendo World. At the time of recording, the only Super Nintendo World open in, well, the world. I couldn't contain my excitement as we started down the warp pipe with the songs from Super Mario World in the background. Everyone was in amazement and stopped as the eventual reveal appeared. Once again, the detail is just amazing. It is really like you stepped into the game. When you just avoid all the crowds in your line of sight, you can just sit here and see all the little moving spaces, the animatronics moving. There's so much movement and color in the space. It is like a little wonderland. If you're a fan of the Mario games, it will definitely transport you back to parts of your childhood, or for me, but to parts of even my adulthood. Our first ride for today was actually the Mario Kart ride. Now, this is where our tickets came in handy. We had limited time, so we definitely decided, hey, we're going to fork out the money and use one of the fast track tickets, which allowed us to go around this other path into the ride. Everything was themed, from where the employee entrances were to just the path. Just never trying to break that set of immersiveness, just like the game. That's the number one thing you appreciate here. So even if you're in the line, there are a lot of little secrets and trinkets and so on like that are pretty much call outs to the game. The only downside to being in the fast track time entry lane is that you didn't really have enough time to look at all the details all around you. Now for a review of the actual ride. Of course, there's no footage of it because our hands were too busy on the steering wheels, and we were also wearing complete helmets as well. The ride tries its best to try and recreate what the chaos of Mario Kart is like. I think that we did enjoy it, but of course it was fully in Japanese. There were signs and different things that kind of helped you along to allow you to understand what you should do when you go into the ride. At the same time, I think that because we didn't fully understand everything that was said, we still lost some of the magic of being able to, right from the get-go, understand how to operate and fully enjoy the ride. But despite that, even just coming in to this castle and seeing all the Easter eggs was definitely worth it. I liked looking around and seeing all the little Easter eggs, and even some of the things you don't think about, like shells and all this sort of lore behind Mario that you wouldn't really think about. Universal Studios loves its themed drinks. We stopped for some mango lassi. Of course, it was a Yoshi mango lassi. How did it taste? Like you'd expect, like a mango lassi. Not the best ones, but for the sweltering heat, it was great nonetheless. Above us, we sat and watched the Yoshi's ride that was happening there. A kind of slower roller coaster ride. It was more for kids, just showing you around the theme park, which if you're really interested and had the time tickets, we might have partook in. Super Nintendo World was definitely a nostalgia trip. I just wish that the Donkey Kong Land was also open. I think we might have missed it by a couple months. The good thing is, if you do want to experience Super Nintendo World, next year it should be opening in Orlando along with the Donkey Kong Land. That's good for everyone else who doesn't want to go all the way to Japan. What happened next was a thing that the wine would regret forever. I convinced her to go on the biggest, baddest roller coaster in the park.
Looking back, I should have realized as we walked by and heard people screaming that was maybe a reason to be alarmed. Eventually, I did learn exactly why they were screaming, because you're strapped in, hanging from this dinosaur thing as they pull you up, and for a second, the view did distract me. I saw Hogwarts Castle in the background, was like, that's the best view you could probably get in the entire park. Then I remembered that gravity exists and everything that goes up has to come back down.
Oh, I knew gravity was going to hit us, but I forgot what the G-forces would be as we came down this thing.
My favorite part of the ride was once I realized I was still alive and it was coming to an end, slowed down, giving an actual nice, slowly coasting flying view. But we were lucky that we were still able to go on the flying dinosaur. We were perhaps the last people of the day as it suddenly started to rain and we were encouraged to seek shelter in the buildings.
Unfortunately, we didn't wait the 2 hours it would take for the rain to stop, and so we missed our place in the Harry Potter ride.
If you're considering coming to Universal Japan, do be aware that rain or a thunderstorm can bring the whole park to a standstill, even the rides indoors.
Thank you for joining us on our adventure day in Universal Studios Japan. For the next video, we go to Nara Park to feed some deer and, being us, get lost in a forest. Be sure to like and subscribe to see that video. Until next time.